something a little bit different and slightly unusual, but it's about really finding ways to work together to achieve everyone's individual goal. And we're in the hope that, then the sum of the overall becomes better than just the combined parts. So we're going to be basically exploring a bit more about our minds. We've all got fantastic brains. How can we use them to be smarter, sharper, more creative, more constructive? We're going to look at that now. We're going to then do this brainstorm and create a big mind map behind us using this tool called the weather system, which helps you to engage with creative thinking and critical thinking at the same time. Is everybody comfortable with English? Because otherwise just use your native language and we'll figure it out, if that makes sense. And then at the end of the exercise, we're going to summarise this fresh thinking so that hopefully you have created for yourselves a plan that you believe you can achieve for Gen Americas. So I'm not from Gen in the sense I haven't got much information about Gen that I can give you. I'm here to help you think in fresh and new ways about what you're trying to achieve. Okay? And so then at the end, we can hopefully find ourselves more connected through this shared experience we're going to have today.
So the objective is to find an objective for Gen Americas.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah? Good stuff. So let's do a little bit of warm-up to start with. I'll give you a bit of background. We do have this ability to think creatively and to think critically. The internet kind of tells you it's left brain and right brain, but it's not quite as geographically clear as that. But what science says is when we combine critical and creative thinking, which is what we're going to do, that's when we're most likely to have innovative ideas and sparks of genius and that sort of thing. So who knows what's going to happen today. The brain is basically made of quadrillions of neurons, all interconnected via these synaptic links. And as we become educated, as we find ourselves making patterns in our everyday lives, which is totally normal, we're not going to reinvent how we get dressed every morning or anything like that, our brain actually starts to solidify some of these synaptic connections so that it becomes the obvious decision. If I want to do this, I'll do that, and that'll happen. But unless we take the time to disrupt some of these connections, we never see any new ideas. They really think that, the scientists have been saying that it was from 0 to 5 that we did most of the conditioning of our brain. But now we know that we can continue to upgrade the software in our heads for as long as we believe it is possible. So if we believe we can't, we're like solidifying that link. So this is really just about becoming a bit more open-minded today, experimenting, playing, if you like, with no real expectation other than to see at the end what the outcome is. So we're going to be doing that so that we leave here with better conditioned brains ready to take on any challenge. To give you my background, why I'm here, back in 2004 it actually was, I was the British Consumer Inventor of the Year. And as a result of that, I was made an ambassador for Enterprise UK. And Enterprise UK then started this Enterprise Week, which, as Jonathan's been telling us, by 2008 became Global Entrepreneurship Week. So I have really been involved in this since the very, very, very start. And as an entrepreneur, as a startup, having benefited from these programs at the beginning, you feel you want to give back into the ecosystem. And so I wrote this book, From Brainwave to Business, and in that I first published this weather system, which we're going to use today, and launched this global brainstorm event as an event for Global Entrepreneurship Week that uses what we're doing today, but to help entrepreneurs develop their ideas. And we do it on the internet so that people from all around the world can come together and connect and build their ideas together.
Celia, may I?
Please.
Just want to level set because I came in a little bit late.
Sure.
The focus of this session is Gen Americans or no?
Gen Americans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're in the right place.
Okay.
With the intention of thinking in ways we don't normally, to come up with an agenda or a plan of action that we all believe we can achieve moving forward in terms of developing Gen Americans.
Thank you.
The focus for everybody is to concentrate on their individual country. Somebody in the African session yesterday gave a fantastic example, and they said in terms of Gen, it's like we're all little startups, each country is its own startup, and then what they said was, and then the overall becomes like the incubation hub. Only I said, yes, that's great, but you've got nobody in the incubation hub advising you or coaching you or mentoring you. So it's much more of a peer-to-peer mentoring situation that you're going to put yourselves in, to collaborate, to help each other achieve your own goals. Yeah? So focus on your own country rather than worrying too much about the bigger picture, and then the bigger picture will take care of itself. Yeah? Just to summarise what we did this year for the Global Brainstorm, we actually concentrated on fintech, and one of the results that came out of it was that entrepreneurs wanted open banking and access to data in order to be able to develop some of the innovations. And so when we published the report at the end of the hangout that we'd had, summarising everybody's thinking, and the joy is it's anonymous, so nobody has to take responsibility for an idea that they perhaps don't want, to have everyone go, oh, you were so negative, or oh, you were too positive, or whatever. It's about the collective. And anyway, by the time we published this report, within 4 hours, the committee making the decision was saying, okay, we'll go ahead and do open banking. And now we have open banking in the UK. So they can be quite powerful, these sessions. For anyone who's into meditation, this is like a conscious meditation. So we're all kind of tapping into the same collective energy on this. We're going to start by doing a little bit of a warm-up exercise, if you'll be gracious enough to play this game with me. Our imagination is really, really powerful. And we neglect imagination quite a lot in business. We concentrate on the logical side of life. But they say 90% of our mistakes are errors of perception. So if we take the time to broaden our perception before we take logical action, we're less likely to make the mistakes. So that's what we're doing today. We're broadening our perception. And we're going to start by warming up our brains and testing our imagination, playing this game. Here on the screen we've got some lemons. I'm going to ask you all to imagine that you can reach forward now and choose any one of those lemons and pick it and take it and hold it in your hand. So if you could all stretch and choose your lemon and take one down and actually hold it in your hand. So take a lemon, pick a lemon and hold it in your hand, okay? So you can sort of feel the weight of the lemon a little bit maybe. You can start to feel its waxy surface. Yeah, I mean, you could throw one at each other and catch the other one and do as you please. But if you start to squeeze it a little bit, you get that sort of juice come out of the pores in the pith. And exactly, if you smell it, and begin to smell some of those citrusy smells. And now as you just turn it over in your hands a little bit, I'm going to ask you to take it in 2 hands and do something really quite brave by bringing it out through the skin and everything. Just take a big bite straight into this lemon. Okay?
That's good.
And so we've created a physical change in our body. Like we've physically changed our body using our imagination. So it's a very, very, very powerful tool that we have in our heads. Okay? Good. Let's get into the exercise. Did that work for everybody, by the way?
Yes.
So the way we're going to think... Normally I ask people to now take a sip of water, and that saying of turning lemons into lemonade, you know. But traditionally, and I think this was sort of since the time of the ancient Greeks almost in the Western world certainly, we've been conditioned to think in quite a binary, right or wrong, for or against, positive and negative way to make a decision. And that's quite, you know, binary. Life's much more complicated than just that. And it also puts us in a situation where we have to argue with each other. No, my opinion's better than your opinion. No, your opinion's better than mine. And then we actually stop trying to explore all the other opinions because we get stuck, like trying to convince each other. It's like having a boxing fight. There has to be one person that loses in order for the other to win. So instead of having a boxing fight today, it's going to be more like running a 100-metre race. You know, at the end of the day, through history, we as humanity now run the 100-metre race faster than we ever did before without anybody losing, because, you know, anybody that gets to the Olympics is already a winner. So that's, instead of working like this, or indeed working like this, where again we broaden our perspective a bit more, the quadratic approach, we're actually going to explore the situation from 7 different perspectives. And we're all going to share the same perspective at the same time. I'll explain more which each one means, but they take their reference from metaphors of the weather. So rather than positive and negative, on a sunny day, what's it like? On a rainy day, what's it like? And you know, we talk about positive thinking, but stay in the sun for too long and you get burnt. And if we don't do negative thinking, that's when we make mistakes. That's when we expose ourselves to the risks with that blind optimism. So the rain also rehydrates the situation. It's important to spend time thinking about some of the problems in advance. So that's what we're going to do. Now there are some rules to this game. And the first rule is that everybody is right all of the time. And how I'm going to prove this to you is with what I call the story of the 6 and the 9. If I draw a number like this and I hold it to you, what number do you see?
6.
Whereas, of course, it's not, it's a 9.
It's a 9.
And we can argue all day long unless we take the time to all share the same perspective and then to all share the other perspective, at which point we can start talking about it's drawn badly, it's on a piece of lined paper, doesn't even look very balanced, and we can get deeper into the discussion as to what this actually is, rather than arguing about it. So that's why everybody is right all of the time, because we're going to share those perspectives. So all of your opinions are valid, even if somebody disagrees with something or hasn't thought of something, that's okay. We're going to add it all to the map, and then we're going to mix it up and pull out the information at the end. The second rule is please relax and enjoy. Actually, when we're stressed and fearful, parts of the creative brain aren't needed in our primeval instincts, and so we can't think as creatively as we do normally. So just relax, enjoy. This is a game we're going to play, a thinking game as such. And the third rule is be as open and honest as you can be. The more open and honest people are, even if it is saying things that we don't necessarily enjoy hearing, the easier it is to move past that and get to something constructive. So I have actually got a few of these boards just in case, I just pass in case any anybody doesn't quite feel comfortable saying something out loud, if you scribble it on one of these post-it notes, I'll collect it at the end and I'll add it into the conversation. So I'll just leave them dotted around and people can find them. It looks like something's written wide. People can collaborate to work with those. So is everyone happy with these rules? Can we agree to these rules before we begin?
Yes.
Brilliant. We're going to start with this first mindset. And this is really us taking stock of our current situation, the lay of the land. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. What I'm asking you to do is to reply as if you were sending a tweet rather than posting a full-blown blog. So quick, short, one word is fantastic. Answers that allow everybody to just keep answering. You'll come back, you'll speak lots of different times. You'll have a chance by the end to express all of your opinions. Just keep it short and sweet, and then we can move through the exercise. So, my first question, in regards to Gen Americas, how do you feel about this project? Who's going first? How do you feel about Gen?
Gen or Gen Americans?
Gen, I forgot your country. Ecuador. So Gen Ecuador, how do you feel about Gen Ecuador? Or how do you feel about Gen Argentina?
Excited.
It's a link with the war.
I think the same way.
Link
A
the
window,
world.
a window to the world.
Oh, window to the world, yeah.
I see opportunities.
I see growth, collaborations.
And how do you feel about it all?
I see development.
Development.
And I feel like enthusiastic.
No frontiers.
Yeah.
No frontiers. All the countries talk the same language.
I feel like
No limits.
No limits.
Yeah.
No wars.
No,
No barriers.
no barriers, exactly.
Well, it's linked to window to a new world and no frontiers, but I feel connected.
Great. Yeah, absolutely.
Sí, todavía existe.
How
A little bit confused.
Confused, yeah, I mean, that's true. It's a big project and we're at the start of it.
I feel
In Mexico, I feel not connected.
Okay.
Catalyzer.
Yeah.
Also,
Excuse
I
me.
feel there's no metrics. No metrics.
No metrics. Yeah.
an opportunity,
Yeah.
an opportunity to learn from each other, from what we are doing good.
Yeah.
Inspiration. Inspire.
I feel like we'll be able to align resources. Like it's a great opportunity for us to do that.
Yeah.
How was that? How was that?
That's exciting.
America.
That's exciting.
Fantastic. And what's the factual reality of what's happening with Jen in your specific countries?
Complexity.
Yeah. Where was that word before here?
Confusion.
There's a lot of egos.
And
Okay.
Very good.
Lack of a business plan, maybe.
In Argentina, it is burning.
We are starting now.
It's just being born.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's our phase is.
So,
I don't know how in each country works, but are the goals defined? Like,
no.
no, this is really what we're doing now. Is
so then, like definition of the goals
yeah.
themselves.
Yeah.
So again, you're feeling like no metrics, no goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't have objectives and
Starter kit. I mean, governance.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
creating Gen, so this is
Yeah.
what you have to do.
Exactly.
This is your
It's
goal.
like a baby. Oh,
Something important is we have a language barrier.
yeah.
Yeah.
In your country.
Yeah.
Yeah. In
No,
in
in
America.
In America.
One of the factual
Or in another
realities.
country.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Still, we have a language barrier.
Yeah, because there's
English,
English
Spanish,
and Portuguese.
No, yo entendí que
What I mean?
eso lo hablas de cómo te sientes en tu país.
Yeah, compared to well, if you were just take the North and South of America, the North America has much less of a language barrier than South America does.
What about the world too?
Yeah. What other factual realities have we got going on with Jen?
No funding.
Yeah.
No governance.
Yeah.
No governance, no map.
Yeah.
No perspective
Business
yet.
model.
Yeah.
An open agenda.
No. Open. Yeah, it's an open agenda. It absolutely is.
I don't know if saying there are economic gaps between Canada, United States, and Latin America.
Yeah.
So just for clarity, Americas, is that north, south of Central Caribbean, or I'm looking at Latin America and the Caribbean when I think Americas?
We're looking at
All.
Is it
All.
the whole
All.
Canada?
Is the continent.
At this point in time, but can we just be
Only for that part.
let's be clear about the fact that we've broken down. This microphone is awful.
Just hit the button and turn it off, it's so small.
They're recording. That's the only thing. That's better. That's better. The way the sessions have been broken down into the 4 chunks is as much to give you each individually a chance to think about Jen in your own country. This isn't the launch of a new, united kind of body. We're still talking about Jen in each country and then Jen global. It just so happens that it's easier to break the sessions down into some chunks and for you to make the connections amongst each other because there's going to be greater commonalities, shared problems, the opportunity to connect and collaborate and better work together to help each other overcome your own individual problems rather than necessarily trying to create one big unified thing.
So we should focus on
So
our
we're
own
still
countries.
focusing on our own
Okay,
countries.
because when they were talking about the language barrier, that was the conversation they were saying.
Yeah.
The language barrier because we
Co-
were looking at all these
Yeah.
countries.
Within Jamaica, you're perfectly happy communicating
Yeah,
amongst
within
each
each
other.
country, I think we're happy, but we were thinking
Exactly.
French, Canada,
Yeah.
English to Portuguese to.
So this comes into play when we talk about
Right.
that, not necessarily on an individual country basis. But that's okay, it's good to add it all into the conversation. What constrains the situation? So we've had lack of funding, that's a limitation on an ability to do anything. Are there any other constraints that anyone is facing in their country?
Political environment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a good one.
And
Current laws.
lack of policies.
Yeah. and legislation.
For those of us who are starting, I would also see a lack of a playbook or a common playbook.
Yeah.
Or a model.
We had something here, lack of plan and yeah.
Lack of time.
Yeah.
Volunteer.
So that's kind of
A lack of experience.
as
Our
well.
Experience, because this is a
Yeah,
new business or new
absolutely.
process.
We're all startups again as such.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a very good one.
Mentoring.
Yeah. And I guess this coming together now sort of opens us up to peer-to-peer mentoring. I'm sure everyone's got various different experiences and probably together you fill all the gaps everyone's got.
Normally the government and the people don't know the gene. We need to introduce the gene in our country.
So a lack of
People talk
understanding,
about entrepreneurship,
awareness.
but don't know the gene.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, that's right.
yeah.
The government and the normal people.
No one, right?
Yeah, I mean this logo is powerful when people have seen it before.
Yeah,
Yes.
sometimes they confuse. They think it's Global Entrepreneurship Week, and they still thinking that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
We need to make them understand what does GEN means. And I believe we don't understand yet what GEN is.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
we can do that job in our countries still, because it's not really clear for us.
And because we're still
and
defining
I
it.
feel in Argentina at least, I want to reinforce the idea of language barrier because speaking English and bring to Argentina
Yeah.
this Global Entrepreneurship Network, it's not easy for the common people to get full understanding.
Yeah,
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 most of our countries are
Speaking
speaking Spanish and only Spanish speaker.
yeah.
So and are from the agriculture sector or are common people, regular people. How do you say?
Yeah. Well, highly good at what they do, but not
Yeah.
necessarily educated in the English
And-
language.
And it's difficult for them to connect with all that ecosystem because they don't know how to do it. We have to.
Yes, so a lack of understanding and
Just awareness, I think, is a big piece. So like, I always use Red Cross as an example of, most of us maybe, unless we had some type of major disaster in our country, have never had a direct interaction with the Red Cross, but we know what it is.
Yep.
So sometimes you need just that global promotion of global entrepreneurship, the compass, to help with the local that we're trying to build through the week and activities in the country. And I
Yeah.
feel like the awareness is hard, so we're trying to do the introduction of everything to everyone, and
yes, so it's a sort of
it's a challenge.
market or even client base education, isn't it? Or lack of market education.
Making aware the brand of Gen.
The brand.
And the brand,
About
yeah.
the brand. People should know about the platform and how much is enforcing within the communities and economies. And that some way it is lacking. I mean, it depends country to country, but at some point, yes.
And community to community. You might find a
Absolutely.
university of
This
business
will enable-
students all know or whatever.
Also in terms of security and safe for the population, in Mexico now with the drug dealers and narco-traffic, it's really bad because entrepreneurs doesn't feel safe to invest or to give ideas. They are trying to run away of the country, some of them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that will be also a big constraint in terms of security, safe, social environment.
Yeah.
And policies, because
Policies also.
yeah.
But
There's
normally-
something else, Celia. For example,
when I said gaps, also not in, only in economics, because entrepreneurship, I'm gonna focus on Latin America and some of the Caribbean countries are becoming a trend, and that's something positive, but at the same time negative. So contrasting to, for example, to the United States or Canada, there are, it's sometimes the backbone of the economy, the entrepreneurs. So I think, I believe that Young Americans can focus also on the positive side of the trend, but being careful with that.
Yeah.
And normally in our country, when the government think in the entrepreneur culture, think in the unicorns.
Yes.
They don't develop policies
Yeah.
for the real entrepreneurs. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
And they are
exactly.
invisible for our governments. For example, in my country, they have 3,500,000 people that are working now, but they are in the dark economy. They don't have possibility for accessibility to the banks. The banks don't give money to the people who don't have money. They don't have warranty, they don't have probability to access to the angel capitals. The angel capitals, the vintage, only thinks in the probable unicorns.
Yes.
But they are another life. They
Yes.
are another reality in
Definitely.
the world.
Definitely.
It's necessary to include the other entrepreneurs, the minority of the entrepreneurs.
What are we calling those other entrepreneurs? More grassroots growth?
Yeah, but
Not
I
the
dissent
uni-
on that. I also come from a country that most of the entrepreneurs are grassroots or what the IDB calls them. It's entrepreneurs for necessity or necessity entrepreneurs.
Yeah, necessity, yeah.
But what we need is to develop the country, to create wealth, and the only way you create wealth is through new business models. So I know that it's not focusing on unicorns, but not also on the grassroots, because
we
that
don't
one.
even have like an investors platform for entrepreneurs. You know, it's very in our country at least it's very hard to find funding. And then investors are not educated in this kind of work.
Yeah. So there's one over there.
We had that debate some years ago in Peru because we gathered together all the ecosystem every month and we said, well, we are working on entrepreneurship based on necessity, or which kind of entrepreneurship we are doing and which kind of organizations doing entrepreneurship we are meeting. So what we said is that no matter if it's traditional entrepreneurship or other or high impact entrepreneurship, but the important thing is to work entrepreneurship and innovation. So innovation, in Peru, innovation is also a pillar of what we are doing because it's like a vision of the country. And other thing I wanted to say is that when I hear what you're saying about, I don't know what is gen or how it can work, I feel very connected to that thinking because I was like that last year. I was like, so then I met with Peter and I asked all the questions I had. Peter was amazing with me. So I feel that after that conversation, with the month, I started to make me some other questions that are aligned with this question. And one of that is, how can we, in each country, we have to mobilize resources. For example, an office. That is not a necessity at the beginning, but when you're trying to position the organization is important because you have to meet with everybody. Okay, you can go to the organizations always, but it's important for young in the country to have like an office. So, for example, I can do the effort to, and I will do it.
alliances with companies and government.
Yeah.
You
Well
you have the
educated,
bank.
well educated entrepreneurs.
Happy entrepreneurs. Not
Successful.
worried,
Yeah,
anxious.
successful
Successful,
entrepreneurs.
yeah.
Unicorns.
Not necessarily.
You have a strong voice on a sunny day?
Yeah.
Policy making?
You see empowered, an empowered youth or woman or men that would, yeah,
To
better
make an
know.
impact. To make an impact to the society.
Empowered, impactful, and diversity, I'm going to put.
You also have a self-sustaining riches circle movement.
Yeah.
To be considered as a
We've got a map, we've got a business model.
Yeah, we've got all,
Yeah.
we are happy.
Everyone got like already happy when we're thinking that we got this.
We're competitive.
Okay, yeah.
to be considered as a key player in the ecosystem. So to have the call of the government or other actors to participate in important matters in the country.
Decision makers.
Yeah.
There are no egos.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that.
Yeah, okay.
We forget the fireworks and start to work.
But that sunny day, I think it's ideal.
Everybody
Well,
understands what Jenny's or our stakeholders understand.
Yeah. The opportunities, yeah.
Sorry, there was a very good one on
Everybody
that.
understands what Jenny's.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
finally
yeah.
understand.
The definition of entrepreneurship is not synonymous with needs-based only.
Yes.
I hear you.
I'm not drawing very good sums today.
I'd be glad.
So just repeat that, sorry, it's the understanding.
It's not just tied to those that are not educated, I find that too much, or needs-based only. But it's for growth, it's for innovation, we think we're entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So they are important in our countries, but it's like a new mindset to everyone.
And the sunny day you solve the needs of a community.
Yes. Yeah.
We solve problems.
You solve the needs of problems of that community, a group of people.
But I think we're forgetting that why are we working with entrepreneurs? Because to get money, to be like, have money. People can focus. That's a sunny day. That's a sunny day when the people can buy food and buy health, insurance, pay for schools and everything, get money.
Pays for mommies.
So the sun supplies you with about 1,000 watts per square metre of energy. So on a sunny day, if you had all the energy that you needed, and we can call energy all the money, all the resources, all the time, all the help and support and knowledge and everything else, if you had all of that, what would you do?
No.
The space is a limit. Wow.
The first energy is the passion.
Passion. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
The passion
What would
we
you do
can
with that?
find the other.
I would teach differently,
Okay,
like hands-on, like very different.
yeah,
I would have manufacturing facilities to help the entrepreneurs with whatever their product ideas are. So like the incubation space would really be a
Innovation centers.
guides.
yeah.
I invest in science and technology.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
space is a limit.
Research and development.
Research and development, yeah.
Instead of traditional professions or whatever.
Yeah.
Inclusive.
I would invest in having our entrepreneurs travel more
Yeah.
to see the
Yeah.
world, to see and learn. Learn languages,
Yeah.
to access markets.
Oh, I see Gen actually as a second floor organizations supporting other organizations like incubators, accelerators to work with entrepreneurs. That's how I see them. So my resources would go to make these incubators, accelerators, angel investors work better, to develop metrics, to align metrics. That's something that we don't have in our countries. We just do things beautiful and events and wow, we're doing great, but we are not measuring that. So I will work for that. And also to share our good practices, and something that is very important in my country after talking with other people is to put Peru and each of our countries in the map of the global ecosystem. So there are strategies and activities also that I can develop in these terms, and that's what I.
Yeah, that's a very them on all of this stuff.
Well, I will give.
To university in order to start very early on.
A sunny day, we can, see towards the horizon. We can see a lot further than when the clouds are down and you can't. So if we look towards the future, what would you like to see for Jen on a sunny day? 10 years' time or something.
I would love to see every city being a Silicon Valley.
Every city being a Silicon Valley.
In terms of entrepreneurship.
In terms of, yes, the success as such.
That talent
Is a Silicon
can
Valley
come from
for
every single
entrepreneurs.
part of the country, not just from the big cities.
Yes, yeah. That it's much easier to access no matter where you are geographically.
You said in how many years?
10.
10.
Oh,
Or
10.
however,
I'm going to go for 10. I want to see no food security issue, our water issue solved.
Yeah.
Maybe we will go to space and hang out a couple. Solved. I think we can.
Yeah, as if problem solvers from different countries work together
yeah.
in one way to solve all the problems.
Yeah.
Stop seeing. I'm gonna write it on paper.
What are some of the potential problems with growing Gen in your country? Yes.
Okay, so lack of negotiation skills for the win-win.
Yep.
A lack of honesty.
Yep.
A lack of being able to say yes or no.
Okay.
The most important to me. Un día
On a rainy day, you don't
I
get
think that's
a
a
rainy
really,
day.
I think that's a really good.
On a rainy day, you don't see agreements, you don't see people collaborating,
Yeah.
you don't see making any change, significant change in your country. In a rainy day, you think it's not possible.
Yeah.
When you feel you work,
That's a
you work,
good
you
one.
work, and you don't achieve results, you don't get there.
You
Yeah.
want to drop out.
You're out of objectives, of meaning, of perspective.
No results or rewards.
But for the entrepreneurs, lack of tools and resources that we can offer our entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
That is a big difference between between South America and North America, because the tools that the entrepreneurs have access to in Canada and the United States is not what we can offer them in our countries.
In a rainy day, you see a lot of egos and a lot of fireworks without work.
Using my raindrops in case you don't know what I'm talking.
Don't worry.
I'm gonna use a
They
very
use a
strong
grace,
word,
it's a meat.
but you also see in a rainy day backstabbers.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't understand.
I feel you, man.
What did you say?
Backstabbers, como dice que te meten la puñalada por la espalda.
Yeah.
Traicionero.
Where
Malditos.
we're chopping each other down rather than building each other
Yeah,
up.
instead of
Yeah.
building up.
Yeah.
You've lost your major sponsor because your goals no longer align.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. So, lose non-aligned goals.
On a rainy day, I think people decide to go on the easy way, not the traffic or any other sources, rather than earning the money on good basis.
Okay, yeah. So we sort of choose the easy road rather than the right road.
On a rainy day, you see corruption also.
Yeah.
It's raining. It's raining.
It's a rainy day.
Yeah.
And money.
Money, yeah, and you're out of resources, tools.
Okay, I thought you said that program's dry. The program's dry up, is that what you said? Yeah, perfect. And that's a good one. So, you know, we basically stop programs dry up.
The time I was in the public sector.
But the reality is when we start to actually recognise what happens with failure, and then we see if we can actually cope, you know, there might be a big brain drain, but there's still the next generation. So, you know, we prepare ourselves.
But if we are looking at rainy day and failure, maybe the next generation, we don't have the resources or the tools to prepare the next generation.
You go day by day.
Yep.
You also learn to be lean.
Yes, yeah. And learning to be lean can actually become quite a positive, you know. Personally, I think startups do better when they don't fundraise too fast, because then you're forced to be innovative. So it fosters creativity. Yeah, the hard times. They say hard times make strong people. So yeah. Now, if we know it's going to rain, you know, we carry an umbrella, we wear a raincoat. So what can we actually do now to sort of prevent some of these problems? Have more than one sponsor. Multiple sponsors. Yeah.
Find another, have a plan B as business model. Have a plan B for business model.
Yeah. Plan B. Absolutely. Be ready to work on a lean basis, even when there is money there. Yeah.
On a rainy day, maybe you're trying to focus in a very specific segment that you know is going to work
So you get focus. Yeah.
Something very specific.
Absolutely.
On a rainy day, it fosters creativity also.
Yes, I think that was said, absolutely. Fosters creativity and yeah.
On having early wins, so then after you feel like things are going good and it's not that bad as the rainy day.
Yeah, so we look for a few little results that we can start to feel better from. So early wins, you called that, didn't you?
Yeah, the technology.
The technology.
Yeah, some level of automation.
Yeah, like a Skype
Yes,
meeting
yes,
happen
absolutely.
versus paying for a plane ticket, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. We leverage technology better. Good stuff.
Risk mitigation.
Sorry, maybe create a room. No?
Yeah.
A map.
Create a map to help us through the difficult times. Yeah, definitely. So that's where we keep that focus. Yeah, very
What
good.
about risk mitigation?
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't do that.
Good. So we'll switch mindsets. The rainbow. This is a multicoloured arc. They're optical illusions, so they're not really real. This is about using your imagination. So if you could, click your fingers to create change, or if you had superhero powers, or if you had a magic wish. Yeah, resources.
I would have my champions.
Good partners.
I would have my champions.
Champions and resources, yeah.
Quality formal education, but education and entrepreneurs in
Yeah.
tools that they need, they will use.
Yeah, that they and we,
Yeah.
we're talking about this negotiation skills and stuff,
Yeah.
for us and them.
Isn't where
I asked why everybody's leaving. I mean, we were too dark or something?
I think they have other sessions. I think.
They don't care about it.
You're like for me.
We want to eat.
We would have instant education.
Instant education. Yeah.
Or quality education.
A little pill we could swallow.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
You will go abroad.
mature entrepreneurs investing in the new entrepreneurs?
No, but she's from the Caribbean. She's not. She's like us.
And to the right. Right to the right.
Somebody bit of translation there, but I think progress is being made anyway.
What was the translation? Border wall? What did you say? From Mexico down and the Caribbean. We will create our own.
Yeah. What did
you say? I missed it then.
No, it's not a word. It's clarifying for the camera. Let's go.
Oh, okay. So put it on a post-it note then.
Yeah.
Write it on a post-it note, somebody. Because there's probably a value, basically. All of this, sometimes these crazy ideas, when you look through them in a different lens, it's like, So please write it down.
We need.
And also, can I just can I just stop and clarify about the camera? Because I agree, it does sometimes make us not say things. I am going to ask that these sessions don't get brought, so we're filming them, but we're not going to put them out publicly. Because I think this is more of a closed-door workshop. So don't be afraid about what you're saying, because I'm going to use it to make sure I haven't missed anything. You know, sometimes people say, but I'm going to ask them not to put it on camera. Not
So
to
you
put it out.
can talk.
So you can say what you like, because I agree.
I didn't see the camera. You said you were to be honest.
The more honest we are, the more we push past these problems and the more we get constructive.
Honestly, is in the room.
Now we are thinking us. We need to make a strategic plan.
Yes, exactly. That's it. This is about us taking control of our situation, not waiting.
Our thing. The other people don't think that.
That's it. That's it.
We are not good on selling ourselves as countries or regions, so
It's, yeah.
in the sense we can't tell what we are doing good, or we can't be that efficient as others are.
But we need
And that's as much cultural as anything. I mean, yeah.
That's on rainbow.
I know. I put that into the I put that back into the range because I thought that was a problem, that we weren't good at selling ourselves.
In the rainbow.
But in the rainbow, so how do we're suddenly very good at promoting ourselves, I guess is what we're saying.
Well, yeah, we're the best in the world. Or not.
I'm going to say, for example, in the rainbow, stop seeing ourselves as country of instead of asking or begging, giving, you know?
Okay. Yeah, that's a nice one.
Give instead of ask.
Give instead of ask. Yeah.
You need to change that mindset.
Mindset, absolutely. And you've got so much to offer. I mean, it's such a rich culture of diverse ideas and thoughts.
But we're expecting that another country or international corporation or government is going to provide us. And that mindset doesn't fit with prosperity or with wealth or creating new businesses or something like that.
So you basically have permission here today to empower yourselves. Yeah. You don't need to wait for that permission, you have it.
In rainbow, maybe sorry.
What I would change is like when now the system more like connected and like a flow of information really good so that we can get stand together or more.
Absolutely.
Individuals or organizations, if not all like a
Connected, flowing ecosystem, flowing, functioning ecosystem.
First in our country and then also globally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you guys you're YRD? No? But is there? June.
In rainbow, I see that the governments don't try to do an entrepreneurship, only the politics, and we can run appropriate programs without all that communism and socialism that is invading the Latin American countries.
Right.
Populism, it's
Populism is either left or right.
Yeah.
I think in a rainbow day we have like a common policy construction that allowed us to regionally boost our entrepreneurs, like having.
Yes, so there's a common policy that enables a regional, yeah. Good one.
Maybe try to bring best practices, not only from
Yeah.
the northern countries, but from all over the world, like India, South Korea.
This is about defining what a possible goal. You know, for some people it's going to be becoming a celebrity within my country, getting a big award because I've done this. For other people it's going to be, you know, 10 times as many startups coming through the program. So for you personally, what are you going to find is your reward, your pot of gold from doing this? And then where are we going to look for it?
Well, for me, it's an ecosystem that works.
Working ecosystem. Yeah. These dead fish are my pots of gold.
For me, it's more businesses established, get established.
Established business, yeah.
Business are growing, so you're moving from small, micro to small, small to medium, that kind of a...
You're on that progressive growth journey. Yeah. And actually, we're getting those results that we were lacking before. Yeah.
You have the right answer.
Me?
Yes. You will be.
We will be millionaires.
Yes.
Hey!
That's it, like that.
Yeah.
M or B? M or B?
B.
I think that we're here, we
Instead
already are
of
saying
millionaire is billionaires.
Billionaires.
Wow.
And instead of being them, we are them already.
Yeah.
We are billionaires. Yeah.
The pots of gold could be like finding for each region or city or community your uniqueness as
When we were saying about
and work on
specialising.
that in that area, trying to be the best.
Yes.
In that particular feature.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, there somewhere.
We did have specialising and stuff, didn't we?
Yeah.
Need to go somewhere.
It's amazing how
Find
areas
Waldo.
like in, for example, the Bajío in Mexico now it grows so fast in terms of automotive and aerospace industries, and now they are creating an ecosystem so unique for that area that 10 years ago was nothing. So if you can create areas like that in different parts of your country and build an ecosystem, that will be amazing, because then you start just looking for the same cities and the same areas and the same products all the time.
Absolutely. And that's very much how it used to be. Each area had its specialisation, didn't it?
Yeah.
And then with globalisation, we kind of homogenised that. Yeah.
We don't have enough funding in our ecosystem, so we target other struggling areas, partners, gender partners across the world.
That's a really nice one. We almost have the ability to share our resources because they're abundant. Yeah.
Celia, can I share one data that I knew the past week?
Please do.
The new millionaire, not with B, in most of the Latin American countries are people who were on the government or the public sector and share on the corruption. So you have to change also that mindset. That
we are able to change the mindset, that the first choice of the people in our countries would be making a startup with vision, with a global vision.
Yeah.
Not to work
so we're really giving ourselves permission to go wider into the world, not just local. Yeah. Good. Right, we'll switch again. This time we're going to introduce some wind into the equation. So, wind in this instance represents all the external influences. You can never control the wind. You can only ever control how you set your sails. So we have, local winds who might be our peers, our friends, our family, the people who we spend time with every day. We're surrounded here these few days with loads of wonderful local winds, but they're not always quite as close to us. And then the prevailing winds, the big, strong overhead winds, may be the laws and legislations, the policies, the fashions and trends, and things like that. So really, we're just identifying that what we're doing is being influenced by other people that we can't always control. So in terms of the local winds, and maybe this specific one is actually quite personal to each country, but just start to consider, are these people like warm, gentle breezes filling my sails and helping me get to where I want to go? Or are they the icy cold gusts, slapping me round the face every now and again and holding me back and making progress difficult? And we're not saying we love them any more or any less, we're just recognising the metaphor of the wind in their regard, and then we can learn to, sail and navigate better with this energy. So, what are some of the local influences on
greed? Political greed.
Political greed. Okay.
Lack of vision.
Educational system.
The educational system learn our boys to work with other people.
Yeah. But I think all over the world.
To be
Yeah. So that's that mindset, isn't it? So that localized mindset of working for other people. Yeah. I mean, I think at the moment, all around the world, teachers are training children for jobs that haven't even been invented yet. So, it's a very difficult job.
It's a reality. They don't understand.
Exactly.
Don't promote his talent.
Yes.
Only promote the tools to work for others.
So
they don't
talent
creativity
versus tools, I'm going to put. I know what we mean there. Yeah.
They bind creativity.
Absolutely.
When we should be amplifying it.
Amplifying, absolutely. Yeah. So those we recognise as local winds. Now, in some situations, we also have these strong winds, the hurricane and the tornado, and you all have quite big experience of this sort of thing. When a hurricane's coming to town, you don't think about anything else. That's all, everyone's rushing to get home to prepare. Arguably, the GEC is a little bit of a hurricane for 5 days. We all get picked up in this big energy, and then you sort of go home, and it's almost like that, like you've been thrown out the storm the other side. That sort of energy doesn't sustain itself forever. Sometimes it can be constructive, and it can pick us up and fast track us to where we want to go. other times it can be destructive and we need to protect against it a little bit. So we just recognise that sometimes there are these strong, strong winds. I don't know if you've got a particularly strong, you know, a big celebrity or even a passionate politician about it. They can become like a hurricane for this movement.
My country, we changed the government. You have a new president. He promotes the entrepreneur culture. Our country is an entrepreneurial country. But the problem is they are thinking only in unicorns. Okay?
Unicorns.
But it's a very strong voice because we talk about entrepreneur all the time.
Right.
We receive entrepreneur and talk with them. But normally they are all unicorns, of future and unicorns.
Yeah.
But we are strong voices in our country.
And you,
Very.
and still, your ex-president.
No,
my
ex-president.
She's still there. She has a followers.
Populism.
Yeah, but she has.
Populism. Don't think in entrepreneurs.
Yeah, but she means also bad wins.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's a bad win. As my ex-president. My ex-president is also a bad win. I believe politics and politicians in all Latin America are the same.
Are bad.
The populists don't promote the entrepreneur.
Entrepreneurship, no.
They promote save money, don't work, and vote me.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a mindset.
It is, absolutely.
So I think that, a strong wind in my country is now more than the promotion of entrepreneurship since high levels of the government. That's happening. But I think that a really strong wind is when you have government, policymakers, directors, no vice minister, no ministers, directors that work very close to the ecosystem, and that's what is happening in Peru, and it makes us,
Okay, yeah.
strong.
But usually, people in governments, bureaucrats, don't understand entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Usually.
Sometimes.
So if they are the policymakers.
Yeah, it's true. In Peru we have the lack.
I was minister. And I developed policies for entrepreneurs in my province.
But you are
I
not the
created
rule.
first.
You are the exception. You are the exception.
Yes, because I am an entrepreneur. And when I am not a politician people. I founded an NGO and working in different NGOs. I expressed my opinion in the media. The government don't understand, the SMEs company don't understand entrepreneurs. And when my governor won the election, said, you are talking about the government. Yes, you don't understand the entrepreneurs. Okay, can, and you will be minister. Okay, but with two conditions. I decide the policies, and I define my team. Because
very important.
I need to execute your policies with your team, I am not the people. And he said yes. And we create the first secretariat for entrepreneurs in my country and develop real programs for the entrepreneurs.
Yeah, when people that is working already in the ecosystem gets to the government, that's when good things happen, and that's what happened in Peru too. We have people that lead of WIDA or of UTEC, a university, is now the director of innovation and entrepreneurship in Peru, so that helps a lot.
But it's necessary to introduce entrepreneur in the government.
Yeah,
it's necessary.
So perhaps it could be our challenge to make them value the research or some cases we can show them.
And to find those strong winds that have the passion, give them a voice and a platform.
When what I just said didn't happen in my country, what we do is to use the Global Entrepreneurship Week as a channel to get to the government. For example, well, this is recently that we have the director working on, but with like Global Entrepreneurship Week, we said, okay, you as a government you are going to lead this with us, but you're going to lead this. So come and talk to us, and let's do it together, and let's show that the nation that the ecosystem is collaborating, that we are doing things together.
We are doing the same. For the first time in 10 years of history, the government wanted to talk with us.
So that is a strong win that is maybe happening in some countries that should take into account.
Because of our minister, what was entrepreneur? Our industry minister.
But we're still talking only from the public sector. I think we have to find strong wins, like those champions, entrepreneurs.
Those ones we were talking about before, these success stories.
That have been done it without the help of the public sector, you know?
Exactly.
And I find something
and also
about those entrepreneurs, those unicorns that we have. Everybody has in their countries those unicorns that have more than one successful startup. But sometimes they're so nerdy or they're so focused in their startups that they don't share appropriately. They don't share their stories. They don't know how to do the approach to the
But
other.
Gen can be that platform.
Yeah,
and that's where you can become wings to each other.
Exactly.
You know, you can share your government success story with somebody else so that they can use it to leverage their government and blah blah blah.
Yes.
Yeah, very good.
Normally,
So what about these?
Normally, people think about the unicorns that promote the technical or technological
The Facebook or the
companies.
Yeah.
For example, in my country, any of the most important companies is the first producer of candy in the world. Started with a little bakery. The angel capital never put money in a little bakery, but he started with a little bakery, and now it's the most important company in my country.
Wow.
And
That's it. Yeah. So
many people
we have
think
to find the
in
models.
Mercado Libre or in Global.
Yeah, I understand. I have the same thing. There's a lady that has a cafeteria. It calls the Café de Tere, coffee shop. And she sells breakfast. And now she has a chain around the country, and KFC bought her.
Wow.
We need to introduce,
There you go.
we need to introduce that all activities are important.
Definitely.
Not only
That's where we have to define our own pot of gold.
There's a good
not
example.
everybody else's pot
Because
of gold.
we
Our
are,
pot of
we
gold.
are primary sector trying to become in other kind of producers. Not necessarily technological, but with some kind of innovation in the products. I don't know.
I think that Gen can provide those success, the platform not only for giving the success stories. For example, I remember in Colombia, they hired a international press company like EFE or APA or AP to only extract the news from entrepreneurs, the success stories and everything. I think Gen can do that.
I think so, yeah. I think you can all become a win to each other in that sense.
And the other problem is that the people think that the innovation is create a new product.
Yeah.
And the innovation is present in all the activities,
Absolutely.
in all the day,
Absolutely.
in all the process.
Yeah. This isn't a
It's
physical
the
product,
mind,
it's
the
a
open
process.
mind,
It's
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's really difficult to show how you improve a process.
Yes.
It's easier to show a new product.
If you don't create Facebook or Amazon, you are not innovative.
Yeah.
But in all the process, in the invoice, in the marketing, in the communication, they are innovations.
Yeah. So innovation can actually become a wind too, you know, the changing technology.
Yes.
What about weak winds? We might want more, you know, maybe they're really strong elsewhere, but we don't feel them where we are. Is there any more influence that you'd like? Business angels.
Yeah.
And the mentors. And
but we have few and they don't know how to do it. There's no trust in the ecosystem, so they don't know if they want to invest.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. Good.
Financial for the entrepreneurs in the base of the
Seed.
Yeah.
because
Seed,
the entry
yeah.
capital only financial
Definitely.
all the entrepreneurs need have program for financial is products,
Yeah.
companies.
Even if it is just to buy a laptop or something.
Yes, corporations
Yeah.
also. We need more corporate engagement with the startups
Okay.
and the ecosystem.
That's a good one. Good, I'm going to speed us up a bit because we're going to run out of time. So we're going to move into this one, but we'll move through it quite quickly. I don't think there's well, Argentina has a lot of snow. There is snow in South America, actually. Yes, yeah. So, the snow mindset. When it snows, it covers all the details. You're left with this sort of white everywhere. But certain things still stand out almost more, you know. The tree loses all its leaves and you just see the trunk. Like the roads that are the most used, they get cleared. We see our footsteps. So when you cover up all the details, what remains important about Gen? What remains essential as such to the survival of Gen?
The connection.
The connection. The connection.
It's the only place where you can come and find all the ecosystem actors
Exactly.
of the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's still that always.
Yeah.
The information,
The information, yeah.
the reminder,
And sharing.
yeah, and the sharing.
Yeah. Yeah.
The trends, the latest trends.
Yeah.
And even the push, I mean, we were GW up until a couple of years ago, and some reluctantly, some jumped on, but more doing Gen now and trying to build out instead of a week. Now looking at the whole year, so that push.
That constant,
helps,
yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. Yeah.
I think that it's important to promote these activities with all
Yeah.
the delegates.
Yeah.
For to talk about the different experience.
At least every year.
Not only Gene America, Gene Africa,
Yeah,
Europe,
every
global.
year, one of these meetings to know what changed, what remains,
Yes.
what.
Yeah.
That's so important.
Yeah. Please
It would
let,
be great
please
to
let
have
the
input
Gen
from
team
Canada.
know.
Please let the Gen team know. You are not connected to that. We can change the music of a bar, but maybe not change things in GN.
Okay.
It's
okay,
records, so don't worry.
It's on record, that's true. So, what are the paths that we need to keep clear? Now, the paths are maybe, you know, the channels of communication, the processes, you know, the routes to market or access to entrepreneurs or...
Maybe we need to systematize some things. For
Yeah.
example, it would be great to know how we can access business angels and maybe have a form that our entrepreneurs can fill out and then the angels can see it. But systemize the process because
Yeah.
the communication, I believe, has improved a lot through Slack. So
Yeah.
maybe we created a Gen Latin America WhatsApp group, and that's efficient.
Okay, that's good, yeah.
But we also need to move on a little bit more like deeper in like having a strategic plan.
Simultaneous activities,
all of this.
and
objective.
I don't know, a program that works for the region.
Which, in all honesty, that was what we thought we were going to do today.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're getting there. honestly, we're getting there.
Okay. So yeah, but as a follow comment of you both, yeah, I think we need to develop a journey map for a Gen country now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not in the future.
Now.
In this conference.
Right now. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if we have time to stay here or to talk to somebody to get a room, but we really need it.
We need it.
Yeah, we really need it.
Because we're all blind to the vision of Gen.
Yeah. So let's
So
let's go to my bedroom or to somewhere to.
Well, let's just finish. Let's just finish this process.
Yeah, you understand.
Let's finish this process. Let's finish this process and just see then what questions are left for discussion. But you're right. We need to get sort of clear and focused about simple steps.
I'm gonna be a little bit more dark, so I think Jen has been focusing only on Africa, only on Europe, and most of the countries in the America.
Yeah, that's why
don't worry.
We are hungry to work and think about actionable things.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's what we need now.
But I'm going to be more tough, and I think Jen has focused on what is easy to tell about the other regions and not discovering what is happening in our region. So it's frustrating when you can see every single event, same stories, same things to tell, and you are not willing to discover what is happening in other regions.
Yes.
So I should expect, like, I don't know, when we talk about policy, Argentina should be there talking about policy. And not anymore Taiwan, and not anymore the other ones.
You have the ball.
He did it in Estonia, but not in this space. Or I don't know, when you talk about how to run policy hacks or something like that, try to involve some other region, not the same one, because it's easy to tell the one that you know.
I want to challenge our region, our whole region, right? To raise our hand and say, I want to talk about policy. I want to, because I think some of those other regions, they met and created. I don't think Jen created Gen Europe. I don't think Jen created Gen Africa. But we haven't, and because of our diversity probably, geographically, we haven't created our Gen Americas. And so I think when they are having all these people speak, a lot of times they're saying, they raise their hand. So I want us next year to be on the panel when we raise our hand and say, next time you're doing policy, we have the agenda from this year. I want to talk about this, I want to talk about education, I want to talk about, so we're on the panel next year.
And even in the speakers, you have to diversify. There's a lot of success stories. There are great people in other regions.
It's easy to always have the one that fully believe in your mission or that fully share your mission. And it's not, I don't know, in my case, it's not that I don't share the mission or I don't share everything, but I think there are some things that have to be improved. And the only way to improve is like taking in account the other point of view. Otherwise, you are going to be every single day in the same balloon or what is
Absolutely.
happening good.
To reassure you all, I will say that Gen Africa sat here yesterday and almost had an uprising about how they're all feeling this is brand new. This is for us to create the vision that we want, and it's not going to come from top down. It's going to come from us saying what we want to do back up. So you're not I know it can feel like you've been neglected, but Africa felt like it had been neglected yesterday, and we haven't talked to Europe yet. So everybody is very much new to this and finding their feet. And there is no rule book, there is no playbook. That's really what we're creating. So we'll move into the last mindset, or we'll be very late for time. And this is the most important one, so it's important that we finish this. And I'm going to switch this round so that we can actually see what we're doing. And so really, if we've done all the thinking before I turned it around, if we had the big map here, we're not reinventing the thinking, we're now extracting the information from what we've all said to make that plan. So my very first question to you all is, what is winning with Jen in the Americas? What is your big goal for this? What is winning with Jen in your country?
To empower our ecosystem.
And enable it, to enable the ecosystem.
Enable to resources. Resources that maybe we don't have, but other countries have. That's the whole idea.
Or what we can get in as a group, I mean.
Yeah, collaboration.
All the resources we can manage as a group.
So to collect and collate, is that to collect?
To research.
Required resources.
To learn best
Like
practice.
including funding, isn't it? I mean, that's about raising funding as much as anything.
Funding, mentorship, angel investors. Mentorship is very important.
Yeah, it's really important.
Access to international markets, different perspective, visions, brainstorming, different diversity. Sometimes it's very important that other countries or like for example Europe they have a huge diversity. Our countries were not that diverse, and so that plays a big role in
challenging the
entrepreneurial
mindset. Yeah, because the perspective is actually limited to what we know. Yeah. What else is winning?
Learn how to break the barriers that we are facing. But learning, and somebody said, it's how am I going to do that? Not expecting someone else to do it for me.
Yeah.
Even though the Gen community worldwide could be a very powerful instrument in order to help to break some of those barriers.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually the next question here is how are we going to achieve these goals?
with a strategic plan.
So that's really what we're sort of looking at creating at the moment. You know, empower and enable the ecosystem. How are we going to empower and enable the ecosystem? How are we going to collect some of this research and these required resources? How are we going to break down some of these barriers? Please.
Organizing creativeness.
Organising creativeness?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of talent in the region, but that talent only need to be organized.
Sort of harnessing talent in the region.
And the marketing. I think we need to market the same creativeness and market the talents in the region. We need to share that story and the vision as to that future.
Yeah, communication.
Strong communication.
Strong communication.
And that, like I said, needs to come from top down too. It needs to be just like a Red Cross commercial.
Yeah.
It needs to come, it just needs, you watching CNN, you just see it. And then you see it in your country and it connects.
Yeah.
No hicimos nada.
No, she's
I don't know if we can put on the how to put some like KPIs, some indicators to follow.
With clear KPIs.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Who can help us?
Jessica.
Gen Global.
Gen Global.
We need to structure the regions. We need to know our strengths and our weaknesses to be able to measure how to improve it.
Yeah.
I think those development banks can help us especially the ones like, Development Bank, Urban Development Bank of Jamaica or IDB, that touches like those higher tier entrepreneurs, but don't build a pipeline to get higher tier entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
They can help us starting from the kindergarten, the elementary school, and starting to better track, teach, educate.
Our governments,
Yeah.
they have to.
And definitely the ecosystem. I think we play in various parts of this process. And if we had some type of a proper, I almost think like when we were talking the other day about blockchain, if we had this aligned mapping of the different inputs that can affect better outcomes, then if for us, for me as junior achievement, there's certain things that I touch already in schools that I can track to help to build that knowledge for that student that will eventually lead into this.
That allows you to optimize what you're doing. Yeah. Absolutely. And of course we can add to this, were there any big ideas? We can come back to that one. The next one is as much, what next?
We need to get
And I
together.
think looking at this, it's almost setting these, isn't it?
Yeah.
So actually the first next step is to
We
create.
need to know where we are. Yeah.
That's the meeting for your bedroom. Really, is to give yourselves a few of those.
And what you were saying, Paula, right?
Yeah.
Baseline assessment, not just the KPIs.
Right,
but
baseline.
Baseline, where are we?
Where are we?
Yeah.
And maybe objectives,
Yeah.
Right.
clear objectives for each country. And
And
align them, and as I want to say union, but it's not
Just a
union.
Yeah. But maybe that's kind of what has to happen next, is everyone goes back to their country, creates some of these objectives and then shares them all with each other. And then you start to see how aligned they are and where they fit in.
We need to know what Gen Global thinks about this though.
Don't worry, this is yours. I'm giving you permission to come up with your plan for your country.
Oh, yeah, okay. We want to be a group, like LATAM, group, because we all face the same issues.
Absolutely.
And
Now, by strengthening the group.
yeah. We can be compared to the Canada or US.
Yeah, we need to lean on each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we can go back to our countries and go into a model and create what we're doing in our countries, and then one day try to align something, or since we're here today, we can start to have that dialogue together so that we're singing to one note sheet, we're doing something that can be helped and shared across our countries. Even if we're not looking at the rest of the world, at least in our region.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would also include, I was at another appointment, to kind of perhaps each country map out a little bit how their ecosystem looks internally. Because, I think one of the main things for thinking, at least from my perspective, a LATAM route, which I think, if it's not created within GEN, will be created outside of GEN.
Yeah.
Because we need a LATAM group. We need a group that shares the same language, that can work as a bloc as the European Union does, or as the US does as a federal system. So understanding each ecosystem within the country, and I'm not talking about, okay, this is not only who is the, the GEN, the GDC representatives and such, but also, what are the accelerators inside of there? Who do we lean on? Some countries might lean on a lot
Who
of
are our key
others
influences?
perhaps in CAF. And so, what are the players inside? I think that, for me, that would be what I would be mostly interested in, what's
To
happening in the other countries.
identify regional projects that is important that we develop as a group. One of them is to map the ecosystem. For example, in Peru we already did it, but we have to do it all the time because it is changing.
Changing. Yeah.
So, but we need to have like a a regional platform. If you're doing something online, for example, we should show that it's done by all the region because it gives value to that. It's like, I'm doing that in Peru, but I stopped doing that just to come and propose that to you because I think that it's going to be more powerful to do it as a region. Exactly. Also to the eyes of our of the ecosystem players and of the government. It gives us strength to show Gen as a brand also.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think that there are two things that we need to work. One is regional projects that they don't have to be a lot. It could be one to start and then other one and so on. And the other one, the other thing we should work, and I think it's going to help everybody here, is a roadmap of what we have to do as each Gen country. So when I started this, my first question was, okay, what do I have to do next to incorporate Gen Peru as a legal figure, or to get on my board? What do I have to do next first? Then what I decided is something that I can share with you, but to create a roadmap will help us to start making questions about what is coming next in the coming months. So it's a way to think today what we are going to be facing in the next months. And I know it's hard because I face that. I face that in these months and de verdad que es muy fuerte. Y por eso yo quiero, y por eso de verdad, we need to talk and think about each point of the roadmap. De verdad, yo lo he pensado. Entonces, I don't want you to, what I want is that Latam start easy and fast. And I think that each experience of everybody here can help to that. That's why we need to sit and to lay out all the things and start, thinking each point.
Well, I think these are your details. I think this is a good point to start the next conversation.
But I'm gonna put one step back, and for example, we have to empower every country, every MD, and stop the division or the barrier between the transition from GW to Gen MD to every transition that has been done. So it has to stop that, and you have to empower the MDs for each country in order to create the KPIs, the strategic plan and the objectives.
So is that really what needs to happen then?
Yes.
Yeah. And that needs to come from that?
From global,
yes. Okay.
Exactly.
But we also have to understand that not everybody can be MD.
Yes.
Well, we all can be MDs of whatever, but not everybody is understanding the gaining we are having to involve as an MD in Gen. So the first thing we have to do is to align what we are gaining to that. I have it clear. I work in this for hours per week because I have clear what is going to give it to me personally and for my ecosystem mainly. So it's important for us to ask if we are understanding it or if we need something to explore more. But that I think that's the starting point, and then to go to approach to the roadmaps and KPIs and all of these.
Okay. Well, I will feed that back most definitely.
They can see the video.
Of course.
Setting priorities.
Yeah.
We cannot do everything at once.
Yeah.
That's part of the roadmap. Priorities.
Yeah. And, appreciating this is brand new, it's just been born. It's not even a year old, or it's just a year old. So we are still learning to walk before we're
but
running.
There was some rush to do without the strategic plan.
Priorities.
Yeah.
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 But it's fine because, you know, like in IT, just as an aside, that's how we build now. Minimally viable, get a piece of it going, and then you build on, and you go and you build on, instead of coming up with a plan that doesn't align to my country, so we kind of build differently. So we need to get that mindset more.
And it's individually doing it for your own countries, and then leaning on each other when you get stuck with a problem. As opposed, you know, you're not trying to do it for the whole of Gen Americas in one go. You're concentrating on your each individual country, creating those maps, creating those KPIs, setting those priorities, empowering yourselves, giving yourselves permission to do that, and then working with each other to, you know, oh, I'm finding this a bit challenging, or, you know, what are you doing about this, etc., as a way to give that peer-to-peer mentoring. Has this session been of value?
It has been.
Well,
Actually, I think we really appreciate your help. And what we know is that we develop need to meet after this. Please, because we need to develop. So if you can help us to get a room, or I don't know how
over the next couple of days.
Walter, maybe tell us how can we help? How can we?
But we can meet in the bar, or we can meet in the
Yeah.
We don't need that room.
We don't need a room.
Yes, but after 4 o'clock.
Room. I think that we have a strong reality. So all are thinking similar, all are expectative and need to build this sector in America. Because we need our identity. We have our problem. We have our
how. I think this how is with our own identity.